back to the No Cover TV podcast. Look who's sitting next to me right here. Stefan Hillesheim. Hillesheim. Did I do it?
Hey,
Hey,
yeah,
I
how's it
did it, man.
going?
I
Nailed it,
butchered.
nailed it.
Nailed it. Good deal. We're having an awesome show, Stefan, right here. But first, I want to chat with you out there. Thank you, each and every one of you out there checking out the No Cover TV podcast. Go to Spotify. Check out all the audio show we did. We did a lot of them. We had a great time. Now we're visual on YouTube, just like the TV days when we were on TV from 97 to 2013. Oh my gosh, we did it all. And we destroyed the studio. Yeah, we had to put it back together, but it was a great time back then, and we're having a great time now with all these artists. Definitely. So thank you. So check out all the podcasts, and they're airing live right now. Facebook. We're getting a lot of hits on Facebook. So if you want to go to the No Cover TV Facebook page, scroll down, you can see the episodes. You guys are a lot of hits. Unbelievable. And then you can go to YouTube if you want and check it out there because they're always staying on YouTube. It's an incredible thing. All right. So you know what I got to do? I got to thank some wonderful people out there that support these musicians out there, get the music out there. I get their stories out there. They send me the musicians. I do that. So anyways, let me read down the list. I got my list here. I got to read, and I got my reading glasses on today. You look pretty old, don't I? Anyways, Sandra, you're out there from Della Par Entertainment, Adrian Hall Music Management, Blindfolded International Management, Legion Entertainment, Round the Clock PR, SBM Global Media, The Sound Lab. I appreciate all of you sending me your artists. I will get to you. I will get you on the show. I really appreciate it. Also, do me a big favor. Up in over here in this corner in YouTube, hit that subscribe button up there. Don't be shy. That way, and all the new episodes are going to come up and hit you in the face. And yeah, I want you to watch. Do it. Don't make me come through the screen. Oh, I will. Don't do it. So hit that subscribe button out there. And if you notice behind me, I'm not in my studio. Me and the wife selling the house, moving. But we're not stopping the show. And I really don't feel like going down to the TV station and doing the podcast because it'll be noisy, very noisy. Oh, yes, it always is. So definitely. So thank you. All right, I want to thank somebody else out there. I want to give a shout out, I should say. Friend of Stefan of mine, Brett Hahn, you're out there in Australia, aren't there, brother? Yeah, you sent me some music today. Kick ass, Brett. And it was called Mama's Got You Right. I don't know if Stefan has heard that or not, but wow. Incredible. So you know what I'm going to do next, folks? Catch my breath first. But you know what I'm going to say? What's my 3 favorite words out there, people? Support. Support these artists. Go to their shows, pay a cover charge if there is one. Get to their swag table. Get that CD, album, T-shirt, hoodie, coffee mug, bumpers, keychain. Oh my, it goes on. Then get out to that stage and enjoy the show. See if you can stay afterwards. Meet these wonderful artists. Get an autograph. They're going right to the top. Remember, most of all, these artists are doing what they love to do. Put a smile on your face. In return, your smile kicks right back to these artists. It's a wonderful thing. And in my book, music makes the world go around. Yeah, it's a wonderful thing. It is. Stefan Hillesheim is in the house, brother. How are you doing today? Thank you for joining me.
Good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, this is great. Now, you're friends with Brett. I'm friends with Brett, and I think he kind of referred you a little bit to me.
Yeah. He was telling me about his interview, and I watched you guys chopping it up. I met him and his band in Memphis at the IBCs. Yeah,
Yes, you did.
earlier this year.
Yeah, right on. So we're going to chat about that, and we're going to chat about a lot of things. This guy right here, one amazing blues player, singer, songwriter, da-da-da-da-da-da. We'll go right into that as we go through the show here. But before we even talk about music, Stefan, I want to get in your head and figure out a little bit about you. I want to know something about you. Can I do that?
Yeah, ask away, man.
All right, let's do this. Well, I'm checking the music out. I'm checking out the live YouTube stuff, and you are amazing. And we got you're in Chicago right now, right? Yep, you're in
hmm
Chicago. We're not too far. We're only 4 hours away from each other because I'm in Michigan here. So you'd
All
be
right.
surprised you see me come on down and pay you a visit, brother. So, anyways, but you were born and raised in Germany.
hmm Yes.
That the name would kind of hint to that right there. Okay, well, let's go back. Let's get back to Germany. I want to take you back to, well, I'm thinking you started real young. I want to think 5, 6, 7 years old. You're hearing what mom and dad are jamming to or listening to. Maybe you have older siblings, I don't know, or family members are listening to stuff. And maybe you have some family members that are also talented artists and musicians themselves. Stefan, tell me a little bit. What were you grasping on at an early age as far as music?
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't really a lot of blues around where I grew up in Germany. I
Right.
mean, there was rock music, and my dad had some like blues-oriented rock music in his record collection, like some Cream, Hendrix, Roy Gallagher, that type of stuff was around. And I started listening to that really early, like probably not even elementary school, like kindergarten.
That's good.
Like, yeah, and I grabbed my dad's guitar and I like figured out some chords, like some, singer songwriter stuff, Bob Dylan stuff,
Well,
like kind of that type of stuff.
knock on
Um,
heaven's door stuff.
that was the first song I ever played, "Knocking
Was
on
it
Heaven's
really?
Door." That was the first chord progression I was able to play. It's so funny you say that. And a
Right.
lot of those songs are great for teaching
Oh,
too.
they are.
Whenever I get around to teach, I go back to a lot of singer songwriter stuff. Like because I
Yeah.
feel like. Anyways, we do have one good club. It's called the Café Hahn in my hometown, which is Koblenz, Germany. It's pretty small, population of 100,000. But we're fortunate that we have one music club that attracted some of the American blues artists.
Oh,
So Luther Ellison, his son Bernard Ellison, like quite a few Alligator Records artists would come once a year, and you really would have to pay attention when they're coming on tour. But that was a special treat, for us to see some original, guys
right.
every now and then.
Exactly.
Because internationally, there's a modified adaptation of American roots music, how people kind of do it, and it's not bad, but it's not the same thing. You
No.
know, if you see a German blues band, some of them are good, but it's not the same thing. It's American. It's American music after
Right.
all. So for me, it really clicked when I first saw guys from here, or especially from the Midwest and the South.
Okay.
Um, Doing it, and I'm like, wow, that's where the initial thought came in. Hey, I think I have to go there if I really want to like get to the bottom of this.
Okay.
And 11 years ago, I think, yeah, 2014, I decided I was doing some other stuff. I had a hospital day job, and I was teaching, and I studied some classical guitar in Germany, and then I came across the Musicians Institute, and I'm like, hey, because the whole visa situation is not so easy
No.
either. So as a student, like there was a good pathway of being allowed to like stay for a while and figure things out. So I enrolled in one of their programs in Los Angeles and Hollywood,
Wow.
and after I was done with that, I applied for an artist visa, which is not very easy to to
Right on.
to accomplish either. You have to like really bring a lot of paperwork in, but that was kind of my story, and I have to say I learned a thing or two in school, but I learned a lot more like from the gigs that I took on. Like
Yeah.
shortly after I started studying there, one of the drummers I worked with, my friend, he's from Milwaukee, Jamar Young, he asked me, "Hey, you want to come play church with me?" And I'm like, "Church?" In Germany, it's like organ music. It's
Right.
like, what,
What?
what am I gonna be playing there? And he's like, "Nah, you don't get it. Gospel music." And I'm like, I
Well,
watched
it can
Sister
rock
Act.
gospel. Someone's church.
I didn't know about modern gospel music, so I was like naive.
Oh,
I'm like, yeah, I've seen Sister Act with Whoopi Goldberg. I
there we
really didn't know
go.
what to expect, and man, it was like a revelation to me, like how progressive and how interesting the music was in
Oh,
church. So that was a big part of my, you know, uh, time here. My study and like, learning about music was really just plain service, learning new songs every week and different styles like traditional kind of hymns and contemporary gospel, like that's more jazz, like, R&B, like difficult chord changes, you know. And I thought that was just such a cool experience, and I just recently came around to get back to that. So I now have a church in on the south side of Chicago where I started playing,
Woo,
and
man.
uh, it's definitely added a whole nother flavor that I wouldn't have had from just listening to rock and blues music, you know.
Very true. When you're in the genre you are, it's good to learn the blues, the rock, the funk, all that stuff, because it all plays a part. It correlates, to what you're doing right now. Definitely. Now, I still have a few more questions back in the past. Okay. You
Hmm.
said your father handed you his guitar. Father's a guitar player?
Hmm.
Did he play in a band? Or was he, out there playing, or was it just something fun for him?
It's just something fun. He was kind of a self-taught guy who, you know, learned songs by ear and like, you know, kind of figured it out by himself, which is very valuable too. You know, like
Oh, it is. It is.
I
I,
feel. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
well, it is definitely. Now, when you were a young teenager, did you pretty much stick with the blues, or did you listen to rock and roll? I mean, or was you all over the place?
A lot of rock and a lot of '60s rock. Yeah, definitely Cream and Hendrix. Like I learned a lot of their music. Roy Gallagher, another great guitar player.
Yes,
Um, and Gary Moore. You know, like kind of more rock, blues rock. I mean, it's all blues based music,
sure,
really.
it
Like
is.
to be honest, but it took me a while to kind of, you know, go even further back to like the early times of Chicago blues, Muddy Waters, Howlin' Wolf, you know, Elmo James. I really, you know, um, Elmo James was really like one of the artists that I completely got obsessed with, like figuring out what he
Oh,
did, you know. Um, and um, for me, it's like I really get into something and I listen to nothing else.
get
You
you
know,
right on
I had it's for my wife. For my wife, it's sometimes challenging, but there were phases during COVID, I believe. There were like 6 months where there was nothing but Robert Johnson around the house, and I tried to figure out everything that I could get my hands on, you know. And then it eventually moves in the background and evens out. But like
right
it's a
on.
little bit of a obsession or a little bit of a manic, you know, thing. But like I go through my phases where I'm just like I can't listen. I can't listen to anything else till I figure it out.
There you
You
go.
know.
I like that. What does the wife like to listen to besides blues? Is she a rock and roller?
Sometimes nothing. Sometimes it's
Just shut it
no.
off.
Right. Right.
Oh, my mom.
Um. No, she's very supportive, but you know, it's um. I mean, it's tough, you know, if you don't uh, play yourself, sometimes it can be really repetitive, you know.
True. Very
Yeah.
true. Very, very true, my friend. Now, obviously, you knew at a young age this is what you wanted to do, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, you know, when I first came to the States, I did a lot of jobbing. I did a lot of top 40 and kind of corporate gigs,
Okay.
and
Oh, yeah.
you know, that was good, like, you know, to pay the bills and
They pay the
to
bills. Yes.
yeah, get my feet wet. And I learned a lot of music that I maybe wouldn't have cared to learn, you know, because I was kind of deep in the rock guitar player world, but then all of a sudden I was like, wow, it's not about that.
No,
Like
it's
you play like maybe 5 solos a night for a lot of bands that I worked. It was all about pocket. It was all about grooving. It was all about playing something that supports the vocal melody and that keeps people on the dance floor. So I learned all the like funky rhythm guitar stuff, like Casey and the Sunshine Band, Earth, Wind and Fire, like all that stuff. You know, Frankie Beverly and Maze, like all
right
these
on.
tunes. And it's not necessarily guitar heavy music, but it is something that you need. in my opinion, as a guitar player, you need to have that sense of timing and that sense of pocket. And a lot of people can play their ass off,
Oh yeah.
but they don't have that. They don't
No,
have that
they don't.
timing.
Not at
You know,
all.
so for me, I think it was a great experience to really sit down and get good pocket for 5, 6 years and do that. Like, I think the year before COVID, I had like played 220 gigs, you
Oh,
know, so I really worked a lot doing these, you know, top 40 gigs.
wow. Whoa. Doing it for quite a while kind of burns you out, after a while, a little bit.
That's the downside of it, you know. I didn't feel as creative at the time. I barely wrote anything. It was just a process of like repetition.
Right.
A lot of the material repeats, especially if you play for like a multitude of corporate or top 40
Oh,
bands. The
yeah,
songs are very overlapping.
they
So
are.
you'll play Uptown Funk every night. You'll play September every night, you know, and eventually those songs that to begin with are great, they just
No.
they just become repulsive, you know, and I finally have come around to the point where I can enjoy certain songs that I would change channels on the radio when they come on. I'm like, oh my God, I can't.
I can't do it. Don't
It's
make me.
PTSD. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my. How long you been in the States, in Chicago?
In the States, 11 years, and in Chicago, 3.
Wow.
So during COVID, obviously, like for a lot of musicians, my schedule went from like 200 gigs to 0. Um, you know, there were a few places that were really smart about their live streaming that did kind of pre filmed concerts that then were live streamed where they could do it just without an audience, just a little production crew. So there was some playing, but I really started writing. I really started like
Oh,
writing, and I had all this music, and I'm like, damn, I got to do something with this. You know, this needs to, you know. So I started formulating a plan of what I could do to kind of escape the top 40 trap a little bit, you know.
right on.
And I knew it wasn't going to be as easy in the beginning because money wise too, it's harder if you play your own music. Like a lot of places want you to play top 40.
Well,
Um,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well,
Uh,
no. Okay, keep going.
but in a way, I'm like, yeah, I have to try it, you know. Like for me, always my bottom line is, you know, left my friends and family to come to the States by myself. I mean, I have friends and family here now, but my bottom line is always, you know, is it worth, you know, leaving? And I felt like with cover music at one point, that wasn't enough of an argument to say you left everything behind to come here to play top 40 music.
Right. Well,
I tip my hat for anybody who can make a living off of playing music, and I would never say, "Oh, well, all you do is play cover." Everybody who can pay their bills only off of playing music, that's difficult these
yeah,
days.
exactly. It is very hard to make music. I mean,
Yeah,
make money in this music business. Exactly.
but
Definitely.
doing it with your own music is even harder. You know,
Very.
that's even a smaller circle, even fewer people who can say, "Hey, I pay all my bills off of playing only the music I like."
Just the music. Right on. So now, you came to Chicago for a reason, for the blues, I'm sure, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. It's great. You're in the right spot, and you know that. And I'm seeing all the places you played. Damn, but incredible, my friend. Now, I want to go back just one more time. When you were in school, they were teaching you, tablatures and all that stuff, the intricate part of the guitar. When I was doing it, I didn't get to play what I wanted to play. I was just being taught what they wanted to teach me. So it's like, okay, I had to leave because I just wanted to do my own thing back then. I'm a rocker, so yeah, a little different for me. So, did you know that, hey, I want to do the blues. This is it. This is it. I'm going to Chicago. Is that what happened?
To be honest, like I have learned not to have any like rigid lines and what different genres are that I care for or don't care for. Like for a moment, I felt like I would say, "Oh, this I like, this I don't like," but I don't find that productive as I get older. I'm like, yeah, the more you're able to fuse things and make them actually work together, the less you have to like define yourself, you know. So I'm not a strict anything, not a strict blues player. It was the interest in this music, but I don't only play blues at my
That's cool.
shows.
No, you
Like
don't.
we might bust out a Bob Marley song or a Hendrix song or a Jeff Beck song at any time if we want to. You
Well, that's
know,
cool, brother.
there's no limitation in that way. But you know, when I came to visit, I did like a little 3 day trip because my wife was like, you know, it's funny. I had a little map of the states, and when I
Okay.
started, this is funny, when I started thinking about maybe changing locations, you know, because I was like, hey, thinking about the clubs where I could really play my songs. I recorded a couple of like blues EPs, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I should look into other cities. And I had Austin, Texas. I had a little prick in it, little pin. I had a pin in New Orleans. I had a pin in New York. I had a pin in a couple of Memphis, and I had a pin in Chicago. And Chicago just happened to be the first one where I'm like, hey, let me look at flights. So it was out of the places where I'm like, I need to get around to leave California and visit the city to scout out the scene if this is a good match for me. Chicago was just the first.
Okay.
It happened to be the first, and I came to visit, and I got to meet some of my friends at Rose's Lounge that night. You know, Dave Herrero and Pete Galanis, great guitar player. He recorded my last album, Grammy nominated recording engineer as well, and very great guitar player. And I'm like, man, I just need to be part of this scene because I think the competition, the friendly competition, that's really gonna be the kick in the ass that I need to
Yeah.
take it to the next level. Because we all know this. If you're in an environment where you're one of the top people, you get complacent, you get lazy. Not everybody, I mean, I do have some inner drive that always kept me curious, but if you're surrounded by people who are really good at
Oh, yeah.
specifically the genre that you like, man, it's like
No slack.
swim or drown, you know. So you have to, and I feel like that's what I needed, you know, that change of
Yeah.
scenery where I felt like I want to compete with everybody else.
Well, that's cool, man. So you're enjoying it there. All right, now we're at the present here. Now I see now you've got your band, the Stefan Hillesheim band, and then you do your own stuff too, right?
I play a little bit by myself solo, but it's yeah, it's pretty much me and my band now. Just that's
Okay.
it, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
And listening to you guys and visually seeing you and the band members, you got a hell of a band behind you, my friend. Oh my! I mean, the piano player, oh my, the drummer, ha ha, and the bass player, incredible. Now, I need to talk about your guitar playing, since I'm a guitar player myself. You're a picker. You don't. I mean, you use your fingers. You don't use a pick. I haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I
Right.
play.
Yeah. No, I ditched the guitar pick. I don't know, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
Is
Like
it?
yeah, I just um once I try something, like I'm a kind of all or nothing person, you know. I don't like to switch back and forth. I'm the same with tunings, you know. I don't play standard tuning anymore for like 3 years now. I play
Really?
everything. I play everything in an open tuning. I play everything, not just slide guitar, everything.
Wow.
Like
Ooh.
whatever it is. If it's like a classical Bach guitar piece, or if it's jazz chords, or if it's gospel, I taught myself how to be able to play all the chords and all the melodies in a different tuning. And it was crazy. It was like relearning the fretboard.
Right. I mean,
Looking back, I don't even know why I did it, but it's like I like to find things that make my playing differentiate my playing from other people's playing. And the guitar is a visual instrument. Certain
right.
chord shapes everybody uses in the same position. Even if you're a fairly accomplished guitar player, there are certain positions where the intervals are stacked a certain way that is convenient, like the blues box, the Hendrix chord, sharp 9 E chord. Everybody plays it in the same position. If you play in a different tuning, all of these things are gonna sound different than the other
Yeah.
guitar players
Oh
because the
yeah.
intervals are different. You
Exactly.
know?
Exactly. And I mean, from your rhythm to your lead is amazing. I mean, you don't need a rhythm guitar player behind you. You do it all, or a lead guitar player. I mean, you fill the gaps for everything as far as
I
guitar.
try. I try. It does help to have the piano. We play a lot of three-piece gigs too, and it's a different approach. I can kind of step back and play less when I play with Ario. Um, so it changes a little bit,
Sure.
but I think especially in a power trio, like bass drums, guitar, it's really important. You can't have any weak links. Everybody needs to have a good sense of time. And some guitar players kind of hide behind their drummer's sense of time. I think a guitar player needs to have just as good um, needs to have the guitar player's timing needs to be just as solid as a drummer's in order
I,
to really sound good as a three piece.
oh,
You can,
definitely.
you can't you can't lean on your drummer or your bass player for that, and it really shows
No.
in a three piece. In a
Oh,
three piece,
yeah.
it's I feel like there's really no hiding these things, you know.
No, no, not at all. Some people might be able to get away with it, but no, not really, not really.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like you're hitting every blues club in Chicago, aren't you?
Yeah. I think we
Yeah.
play pretty much everywhere, and you guys are Michigan, right?
I'm in, yeah, Grand Rapids, Michigan.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to be playing the Kalamazoo Blues Festival.
Yeah, it's about an hour south of me, so I'm going to try to make that, my friend, definitely. And if you see
Nice.
this old man jump the stage, I'm going to join you.
All right. Let me just see what the date is so we can tell you listeners.
Let's do it. I'll write it down. I got my pen right here. What's the date for? It's oh yeah, definitely. So it's going to be the Blues Fest in Kalamazoo, Michigan. You might have froze.
July 19th.
July
That's the date.
19th.
Hmm.
Okay. And you mentioned when you travel to Michigan, you're going to visit Heritage Guitars.
Yeah, I think I have a meeting with them scheduled where they show me the factory and stuff.
That's
Like
beautiful.
as they're coming up, I reached out and just wanted to see how the sausage is made.
Yes. And I hope they endorse you. I really do. Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be nice. That would be nice, my friend. That would be nice. But you're also doing another blues festival, and that's in Chicago. Chicago, check down. That's in June.
Yeah, press announcement just came out yesterday. I mean, we knew for a while, so the challenge was more to keep it to myself
Well, not anymore with this
because
big mouth.
I
Let it
wanted
out.
to. Right, but now it's official. So we're gonna play on Saturday, June 7th, at 12:30 at the Chicago Blues Fest at
Oh,
the Rosas
you heard it
Lounge
first
stage.
here. You heard it first here. See, artist, if you're going to come on a show, I am going to dig. I am going to call my friends in the upper levels, and I'm going to know everything about you. Don't think I don't. So this is great stuff. So before we get any farther, can you tell everybody out there where they can find you, your music, where you're about, where you're touring, where you're playing, all this good stuff?
Sure. I try to get a little bit better with my calendar. I try to update it for the summer, so that's a note for me. When we get off this call, I have to put the other dates in. But my website is shblues.com. Uh, and social media, just under my name, Stefan Hillesheim, Instagram, Facebook. But website is kind of the easiest way, especially with upcoming dates and music. And I have a new single coming out on June 1st, too.
Nice.
Um, so I've done two albums since a single and two singles and two albums since I came to Chicago.
Hey,
Um,
can I name that single that's coming out?
yeah,
Because that's anxiety, isn't it?
that's anxiety, exactly. Yeah, that's
I'm
coming out.
looking forward to hearing that, my friend. Oh my goodness! 'Cause, oh,
Hmm.
I can't stop grooving, brother, to your music. Oh, great stuff, friend. Great stuff. Okay, is there, are you playing out pretty much every weekend and, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? Well, how many days a week you playing out?
It varies. Sometimes we have weeks, like I have a couple of residencies. I play every first Wednesday at Rosa's Lounge, then second Wednesday pretty much every other month at Blue Chicago on Clark, which is an interesting format because you play like an hour with your band and then you bring on a featured artist, which is uh, Woman of the Blues singer.
Right.
Um, and they have a great rotation of artists who work there: Demetria Taylor, Shirley Johnson, Larissa Weathersby, Cheryl Youngblood. So you get to work with different artists,
That's great.
and um, it's nice. It's a nice change of pace.
Oh, it is, man. Yeah, I mean, you're around some of the best blues players and artists in the country, maybe the world.
Man,
Incredible.
Chicago's where it's at. Like,
It is.
because I have to say, like, sometimes. I mean, you do get used to like being surrounded by so much music, but sometimes I have to pinch myself, especially when it's like a Tuesday. It's
Yeah.
like it's like a -5 degrees Tuesday, and you're in a club and you're like, oh my God, like the last 5 or 6 people who went up to sing and play, they're just amazing. And this is a Tuesday night, like it's
Yeah.
sometimes it really seems unreal how many great players um just we have, and everybody knows each other. That's the nice
Yeah.
thing
Yeah.
too.
That's the
It's
wonderful about
for being a big city, it's a fairly tight knit community. Most people, you have each other's phone numbers. You can sub in. If
it.
you if you need a drummer or bass player, you can ask someone. And it didn't take me that long to get connected.
Right.
And Chicago has a good culture in that aspect, in terms of like, if you can play and if you have good work ethics, people will give you a shot.
Oh, most definitely. It's a great city, and I'm glad, and I am coming down. I will. You will see me, my friend, definitely. Now, I want to talk. We mentioned anxieties coming up. I want to talk about a couple songs. Now, you have "Seduced by the Blues." Now, you entered that into the international songwriting competition, right?
Hmm.
You're gonna win. You're gonna win.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
hands down. So,
um,
tell me about that
just
song.
just tried something. It's when you write your own music, you're always looking for ways to kind of get feedback, but also keep your mind free of. There's a lot of people who like to give advice and tell you how you should be doing it, and you have to kind of shield your mind from that,
Yeah,
because before you know it, it's not even what you meant to say anymore, especially with lyrics. Before you know it, it's going to get so far away from your vision and what you originally felt it should be.
very
And we
much.
know, like, if you're not an independent artist, there's going to be people who invest in you, and they don't just do that out of the goodness of their heart. They want to have a say. They want to
Right.
have a say creatively in what it is that you do. For me, I still am in the situation where I have a lot of work, but ultimately what I say goes, because I don't have to, explain it to anybody else. But
Right.
that's tough about writing songs, because you do want feedback and you do want people to say, hey, this is a good, this is a bad song, but you also don't want to send get too like self-conscious about the way you write. And this is a song that I write about my point of view. Some people might say, well, what is that, how can people relate to that? And for me, it's always, that's like, you know if you can relate to it, it means whatever you want it to mean.
Right.
Some of
Yeah.
my songs, people have come back and says, oh, this is totally about this and this situation, and I think about it, has nothing to do with it. But if you feel that way, that's perfectly fine.
Right.
My Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like you say, when you write a song, it comes from your heart, from your mind. Well, everybody else is going to interpret it their own way. Yeah.
Yeah, this song is basically about me coming to the States and like finding my way, making my way to Chicago. and it's called "Seduced by the Blues," and could mean whatever it means to people. But I feel like, especially in blues music, it's important. Most of all, for me, it's important that you stick true to your own story.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
can't. You could conjure up some images or some stories that are relatable for people or might sound good, but I feel like it becomes very, what's the right word? It becomes really cliche and
Yeah,
really.
that's the word.
I've definitely listened to lyrics where I cringed, where people are talking about stuff that they heard in old blues lyrics, and I'm like, that's not out of your world. That's not something that you would ordinarily say in your everyday voice. So don't get into a character. Don't put
Right.
on a fake Southern accent when you're trying to sing blues. I've heard it, and I feel like I'm trying to stay away from that. I talk about my stories, and I my life doesn't look like Robert Johnson's life or Elmore James' life, so I can't speak about like
Not at all.
the
It's
things
your
that they
story.
speak in their songs. Not at all. You can admire it, but you have to tell your own story, And if
Right.
people can relate to it, good. But the main point is like you need to be honest. Don't make up stuff.
Don't be honest. Do your story. Don't copy somebody else's story. No, yeah, do your own thing, man. That's what rocks. That's what makes it true and blue. My goodness. Now, I watch the videos on YouTube and stuff. And being a guitar player, I'm checking out your guitar, my friend. Now that's a Gibby, isn't it? Gibson.
Nah, I don't have a Gibson guitar.
You don't have a Gibson. What are you playing? What is that gold guitar that you're
That's a
playing?
heritage.
Oh, that is a Heritage. Okay.
Mm,
Now, what year is it? Because that looks a little older.
I don't know, like 5 years old.
Only 5 years. Well, it looks like you played the hell out of it. You play, yes.
Mm-hmm.
How many guitars do you have?
Oh, just like two or three. Two that
That's
I'm
it.
actively using. Yeah.
Okay.
I've been
All right.
playing Strat. I've been playing Stratocaster the last couple of weeks, and I've been really digging that. So I don't know. You might see me with my Strat more often.
Well, that's cool. The Strat. Now, okay. You mentioned you could cover a Jimi Hendrix song. Uh, speaking of Strat, do you play with your teeth? Like Jimmy did?
I got my gimmicks. Yeah, I got my
That's your
gimmicks
favorite.
too.
There you go. Good deal. And I can't wait to see him sometime. All right. Now, I'm going to hit you up with some fun questions. Can I do this, Stefan?
Sure. Go ahead.
All right. Well, now I'm going to ask you some questions and let's get some feedback and see where we're at, my friend. Where do I start?
Hmm.
Do I hit you hard? Do I start soft? Let's start soft. All right. Two answers. We're going to think around the world because you lived in Germany, you live in the States, anywhere. You get two answers. Anywhere in the world, what stage would you love to perform on? Anywhere.
Mm, I'm a sucker for theaters. That for these old theaters. I like playing outside. The sound is a little bit more different, but I would probably say Royal Albert Hall or some type of old theater in the
Oh,
in the Nashville, Memphis area.
that'd be great. Oh man, Royal Albert Theater. Ooh, that'd be great to see you there, my friend. Okay, let's jump to this next question. I will let you have two answers on this, and this is people, and your two answers. But I want a person alive and a person that's passed away. Who in your heart, since you were a kid to now, have you always wanted to grace the stage with?
From people who are still around, Eric Clapton.
Oh
I would
yeah,
say, yeah.
nice one.
It's there's a lot of. I mean, unfortunately, Jeff Beck is no longer with us. He would have been the other name that I from people who have seen live, where I'm like, wow, it was just very. Um, it's just very impressive to see them live, but with Clapton, I feel like it's just um, the whole production. I know Some of my friends in San Diego like play with his bass player Nathan East, who he's been with for a long time, and just the whole band and the whole production of his concert. I've seen him when I was 15, I've seen him when I was 27, and I've seen him 2 years ago. And whenever it's like such a big time span, like
Yeah, right.
and it was always a good show, and he keeps the same musicians, like more or less the same musicians. Doy Bramhall, the second was playing all of those shows with him, and it was always a superb production and sound and everybody. And not a lot of people keep their sidemen or their musicians around for so long
Yeah,
unless they have like a good thing going.
they
Yeah.
don't. I know. Oh, well, let's stay on this question. And for people now give me two people, female and male, in the blues that you really admire. What blues artist, female and male, do you really admire?
Who are still there? Who are still with us?
Yeah, still with us.
Um, well, there's no way to get around Christone Kingfish, uh, Ingram, because I think he's a sensation, especially because of his age. I mean, he
Yeah,
would be good at any age, but it's just so refreshing to see somebody who's younger, younger than me, who's in his 20s, doing what he does at the level that he does it, and the authenticity that he does it. It's just yeah, I enjoy him a lot. I enjoy listening to him a lot. He's the real deal. And in terms of guitar players, Derek Trucks for sure.
whoa, Derek Trucks.
Yeah,
Whoa. Yeah, you'd love to hear
yeah,
that one from you. Whoa, brother. Nice.
yeah.
Oh man! Now, have you been able to collaborate? I mean, you're around all these wonderful blues artists, but are they jumping on stage with you? You jumping on stage with them? Are we collaborate a little bit?
Yeah, spontaneously. I mean, I've been, lucky enough that, yeah, especially when I first came into town, that I had the chance to fit in with a lot of people, just for them to, even take notice of me, before I actually had gigs under my own
Yeah,
name. But yeah, I feel like we have a good. My dog is
that's
saying
my
something.
puppy. My puppy's right
Uh,
behind me.
right. I feel like we have a good sense of camaraderie here when it comes to that. Like, you know.
Oh, most definitely. I mean, you're in the right area, brother. Right area. Now, it's I want to ask: are you getting any radio press? I know it's hard to get the blues out of the radio, internet radio stations. They don't per se play just blues all the time. You been able to get anything out there?
Yeah, I mean, I've done a lot of the legwork myself. For my last releases, I've had a list of like I think 200, 300 radio stations that I've sent my stuff out to, and
Wait,
done some promotions. But I try to expand. I try not to just target strictly blues
right,
radios and venues, because I feel like my music crosses over in terms that there's enough rock and there's enough danceable material that it's not all shuffle and slow blues.
right
It's
on.
you don't have to be a blues nut to enjoy what we're doing.
Very.
Um,
I like how you said that. Beautiful. I like
yeah.
how you said that. Definitely. Now, let me ask you. I got some more questions. I'm going to hit you with this one right here because I love to hear the answers on this. You've been doing this for some time. Um, and this usually happens to my rock, players and heavy metal players, but it sometimes happens to us all. Be honest. Any embarrassing moments on stage you want to talk about?
Oh, all the time.
All
Um,
the time.
all the time. Like, I don't know. I mean, like, there's happy accidents. There's stuff that just happens. But I sometimes even pick up the guitar when I come home after a gig, 2 o'clock in the morning, and have to like figure something out where I'm like, whoa, what did you do there? I
What'd you
don't
do?
know. No, it's just really sticks with me. It really stays with me. Like
Right, right.
it's important to pray to the crowd, and if they're having a good time, that's one of your main purposes of why you're doing what you're doing. But
Yes.
I never let that interfere with if me thinking, did I do a good job, or did I play as well as I could have played. So I go home and like rework some stuff, or you know Gear malfunctioning for me, it's like that. Oh, I have one funny story actually.
Let's hear
Two, two. I split my pants one gig. I remember a
it.
New Year's gig. I was wearing a new suit, and I was bending over to twist the knob at one of my pedals, and I split my pants, and I had to play the rest of the final hour till New Year's with my pants split open in the back. That was a good one. And another one was I played in Santa Monica. It was a benefit concert with a lot of like notable artists on it, and I was in the rhythm section, the house band for everybody, and it was Bobby Kimball from Toto was singing there, and
Oh,
Brent Carter from Average White Band, and Alice Hall from Tower of Power. And
oh,
I during the sound check, Alice Hall was asking me if I could play slide on one of the songs, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't expect it because it was more like an R&B, like kind of soul,
okay.
soul and a little bit of rock gig. And I had my slide um, my slide standing on top of a Marshall 4x12 cabinet, and I moved backwards and the cabinet wasn't locked, that my slide rolled under the cabinet and under the drums, and it was like 2 bars
Oh,
before my solo. And on top of the amp was a Shure 57 microphone that have a nice round
yep,
shape.
yep.
So right before the solo came up, I grabbed a microphone and played the solo with the
Well, you picked a good
microphone.
mic for it.
And it sounded all right. It actually sounded all right, but it was just the situation was so it was coming up, and it just like the surge of I could have played something else, but I just really wanted to play the part that I came up with.
You're right. There's
It
really.
was so surreal, you know.
That is funny. That's great. It happens to the best of us, my friend. It sure does. All right. Oh, yeah. I want to hear the answer on this one. You play out quite often in front of some great crowds. When you're playing and people out there, just having a great time dancing, and maybe you even see them singing some of your songs to you back to you. I don't know. But how does it hit you in the heart when you see that, my friend?
It's great. I mean, it's one of the biggest compliments you can get from people like requesting more of your own music. I mean, that's why you put it out. I mean, you first off you put it out for yourself because you need to, you
Right
know,
on.
you
Yes.
have to. But I mean, sometimes I'm like really surprised. We get a lot of international blues tourists, here in Chicago, and I was playing. I think it was at Buddy Guy's Legends, and a couple of
Oh,
people came in and were like, "Oh, this and this song," and I'm like, "Wait a minute, how do they know? They're from Brazil. How do they know
they know.
my song?" And they're like, "Oh, when I'm gone, that one is good." Like I'm like, "How do they know?" And I mean, there's Spotify and there's all these like international
Platform.
streaming platforms. Some people, look up an artist before they go see them live, and
Yeah,
I
true.
always like that when people come up and say, "Hey, I listened to you on the car ride here, and I like this song." These things really matter. Like sometimes, like a couple of hundred or a couple of thousand people cheering, well, that's nice. But one person coming up to
Boy,
you who says, "Hey, I really sat down and listened to what you did, and this song I really like because of the lyrics." Somebody came up to me. I have a song that's called "The Love I Had for You," and he said, "Yeah, I really have to think about my deceased wife." When I listen to that song, and I really like the lyrics. That can be more meaningful than people going crazy and cheering for you. It's just it makes you feel like there's another layer. It's not just adoration or hey, you're really good at something. So you connect with people over something that's more than just them thinking that you're good at what you do. It's a personal level. Your
yeah,
feelings and their feelings are somewhat
come together.
connected.
Yes, you come
And
together.
it matters. It matters. It's like we don't go I really don't go out to see artists just because I think, oh, they're amazing. That wears off. I
Sure.
usually go see people because I think they're good and I like them. I
Very
like their personality. I want them to be successful, and it's an important thing as a musician to realize that
it is.
people don't just come and follow you around because they're so in awe. There's a lot of people who can do what I do, who can play well and sing well and write songs well. So your personality is important.
Very important. Very important. Stefan Hillesheim, I appreciate it, my friend. Oh my gosh, 50 minutes. We still got a few more questions to go. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming out of the Don't Cover TV podcast. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. I want to have you back in a year or so.
Man,
And
it
maybe
was
that comes out and we'll do a live show.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
let's do it.
it's nice to get the invitation, and for us it's too, like, I remember when I did my first radio interview, and I was so nervous and so awkward. So for me it's good practice too. It's not easy. It's a different skill set than entertaining on stage. Like, talking is just so much more awkward.
It took me a few years on TV to get the knack of it, but then it finally hit. And you just
Yeah.
do it repetitively. You just do it. Yeah, I think I'm more nervous off camera than I am on camera. So yeah, it works different for everybody. Definitely,
There
my
you
friend.
go. Yeah.
All right, a few more questions before we get out of here. I want to, 5 years from now, where do you want to see yourself in your music? Still in Chicago, or you want to move somewhere else and continue on the journey?
Nah, I think I want to stay in Chicago and
Oh,
have my, tour schedule kind of moving around that, perhaps going to the South, going to Florida in the springtime, going to Europe maybe in the summer or whatever, going to South America when we want to,
oh yeah.
uh, but being based out of Chicago. Yeah.
Nice. I like that, Chi-Town. Good deal, my friend. How about this question right here before we wrap it up? Any advice for the youngsters out there that want to do what me and you do?
Um, yeah, just go with whatever gets you excited. Don't let anybody tell you oh, you have to learn this, you have to get your Charlie Parker licks or your Stevie Ray Vaughan licks or whatever it is. Like, there's too many people telling you what you have to do and
Right.
what you have to do in order for it to be of quality. Just whatever excites you,
That's
go
right.
there and practice that.
Yeah. No, good advice right there. Do it your way. It's your music. That's right. Let's do it. This guy knows what he's talking about. Unbelievable. I've had a great time, Stefan. Thank you for, like I said, the bottom of my heart. I can't wait to see you live and in person. And I probably won't approach you until at least after the first or second set because I'm going to sit back, kick back, have my scotch, and enjoy the show. Yes, definitely.
Sure.
Most definitely. So, my friend, this is your show. You got anybody out there you want to say hey, hi to out there at TV land, podcast land?
Um, no, I
No.
can play a few. I can play a few notes for you before we leave.
Please,
Of, of
please.
course, of course, shout out to my band. I mean, I can't forget that.
That's right.
So
Give a shout out to the puppy dog and the wife, too.
exactly, and a shout out to my wife and my dog. And yeah, I can
Yeah,
play a few notes for you before we get out of here. I was
let's do it.
practicing anyways.
Oh, let's do it, brother. I want to hear something. Yes, Stefan's going to play, Bray. Oh, let's do this. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Oh, beautiful stuff. I was about to grab the harmonica. Woohoo! Yeah, brother. Oh, that is excellent, my friend. All right, tell them one more time before we get out of here where we can find your music and everything about you, where you're playing.
For sure. www.shblues.com.
Thank you, Stefan. Stefan Hillesheim is at a house, everybody. If you're in Chicago, look them up, get to the shows, and have yourself a great time and get out on that stage like yourself. Get all of his swag, put it in a bag, get all of his CDs, everything, because you're going to want it if you want to give it out to your family and friends. Hey, that's the way to do it right there. All right, Stefan, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you, brother. Stay in touch. You need anything, whether it's business wise, you just want to chat, let me know. And I can't wait to meet you, my friend. All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Tell everybody we're out here. Peace. We're out
All right.
of here.